Good evening, or morning, or day, or whatever fucking time of the evening it is for you. Um, this is a bit of an impromptu stream because myself and Jen have been debating this movie, the merits. Well, she's given the merits, and I'm given the demerits. I don't know what would be the
To
opposite of
be,
that.
to be fair though, you do give the devil its due. You do acknowledge, um
Yeah, no. Look, I don't outright hate this movie. What irritates me about this movie is there's a large portion of this I really like, but I have there are a couple issues with this that prevents me from really enjoying it. Also, hello Anthony, nice to see you
Hello.
in the chat there. Um, this is a very divisive movie since
I would
it
say
came
it's the
out.
most divisive film of the year, at least in horror wise. I think this would be the most divisive film of the year. Although I don't know if it's actually that divisive because most people fall into your camp where there's certain most people I know seem to say, yeah, there's a good movie in here, but there's a lot of problems.
There's issues, and that fucking ending, and before anyone, any kind of film buff goes, well, you just don't I understand the ending. In fact, I think I think people from Europe probably, or the UK or the British Isles, maybe get the ending a bit more than other people. And and that isn't me being snooty. That isn't me being snooty. I think the execution, the idea is interesting. It's the execution and where the execution was put in the movie. But we'll get to that. I have some other issues with the start of the movie. Sorry, Jen. Go on.
No, I was just saying I find it interesting because most of us Yanks get it. Like there are some people. Now I do feel sorry for the people that like that ending comes and they're like, "What the fuck?" Even if you do know what the fuck is going on, you're still kind of like, "What the fuck?" I'm probably one of the biggest offenders of this film. And as I was telling you backstage, I don't know what the fuck to feel about that last, 5-10 minutes. And I'm a fan, but even I don't know how I feel. It is, I will acknowledge, it is a very jarring ending. But the thing that's interesting with me, with you, is you have other problems even if you take out that ending.
Yeah, it's let's see, never made it 28 minutes into the original. You didn't like the original? I fucking loved the original. The original is one of my favorite horrors of all time.
That's actually a good place to start because as I you as you just said, it's one of your favorites. Whereas with me, the original, I liked it just fine. I don't want anyone thinking I hated the movie, but it's not one of my most beloved zombie films actually. And you know what? When everyone at the beginning of the year were doing list, this was on almost any horror person's. This one was one of their most anticipated films of the year, except me and my daughter Velvet. We didn't have it on our list, and it wasn't because we weren't aware it was coming out this year. It's just we were kind of like, it might be good, it might not be. This for me was one of the biggest surprises of the year because I went in with not particularly any kind of expectations, and I was blown away. And it's been a long time since I've one of my big praises is I just captivated me. I was just sitting there and I was completely riveted with this film from beginning to end. Well, almost till the end, and then when that we did get that last 5 minutes, I was like, "What the fuck, dude?" Even for me, it was such a hard left turn. But up until that point, I just was like riveted. I was immersed in this world, which it is a hard trick to pull for me because when you watch the movies as much as you and I do, and people in the community do, it's hard to get that captivated. And this film was captivating from beginning and even to the ending. Like, you might have been jarred by it, but it was still captivating.
The 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 reason I like the original is because I love Romero's movies, and I love the American zombie movie. Is it's a staple. You've got the kind of outsiders coming together. You've got people hunkering down. You've got maybe a couple of rednecks. You've got basically American zombie movies, like American cinema in general. It's very bombastic. It's very loud, and that's something I love about it. Hey, we have Kal Daly, and we also have Larry, Horror Cat Dad, and Nate in the chat. Hey guys, how are you doing?
Hello,
Um,
gentlemen. Good evening.
but the original, I like that original 28 Days Later, probably also because I am a big fan of an author by the name of John Wyndham. Now, if you've ever read John Wyndham, he done Dave the Triffids. He done what is kind of couch apocalypse. He has done he's done the classic kind of, there's a classic line, the earth shall not go out with a bang but a whimper. And that's what 28 days later does. It does again. It's whereas if it was an American movie, there'd be helicopters falling out of the sky, buildings exploding. Every second person would have a fucking machine gun or a shotgun, and like they'd be making armored trucks and stuff. And there is a military presence in that movie, but it is grounded, and it is something. It is an apocalypse you could see yourself in. You could see yourself in that situation. Um, that's for me. Again, there's no bombacity or pomposity about it. This character wakes up and he is just from the bounce. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on, and we as the audience learn from it. And again, that Walking Dead stole that, the comic, Robert Kirkman's comic, and the TV show, obviously. But that all goes back to John Wyndham. That is a staple of John Wyndham's kind of classic story, where an individual just wakes up, and again, the world isn't like a blaze. It's just people have either died from disease, which the rage disease is, or they've died from a mundane apocalypse. He was fantastic at doing the mundane apocalypse, and I do think that 28 Days Later captured that, and I that's one of the issues I have with 28 Weeks Later. It's they definitely kind of up the ante. Uh, One could argue that do the comparable kind of argument that like 28 Weeks Later is to Alien what 28 Days Later is Alien, and 28 Weeks Later is Aliens. One is solid horror and one is solid action. And yeah, I prefer the slow burn aspect of that original movie.
See, this is interesting to me because I've heard a lot of people with the 28 years later, one of their big complaints is like, we get a zombie movie for about the first 20 minutes or so, and then we get this melodrama. And for me, that actually works because for some of my favorite movies that, deal with zombies, Hear Alone, Die Alone, we're dealing with this stuff, but we're also dealing on an emotional level. And that's where I found 28 years later was so satisfying for me because it's a heavy melodrama and you're really in. And one of the things that really touches with this movie that I like is we're really talking about toxic masculinity. There are so many examples of toxic masculinity, and that to me, it gives this is a much more meatier film than Nothing Against 28 Days Later. I like it for what it is, but for me, this is a much more emotionally satisfying film.
But there's still elements of toxic masculinity in 28 Days Later. You have they have an entire battalion of soldiers who have kind of taken upon themselves, oh, we're going to repopulate Britain by essentially raping these women. You can't get any more kind of toxic than that.
No, you can't. But this film, but 28 years later seems to kind of hit us over the head with his relationship with his mother and father, and what a boy is going to become into a man. And I like how this is, and I like how he was so close with his father, and then he kind of learned. And it's also about learning that our parents have feet made of clay, and there's always comes a time when you're a kid when you realize, hey, your parents aren't gods.
I will totally agree with you that the element of discovering the infallibility of your parents, that like there's a classic line, mother is God's a mother is God in the eyes of all children,
Hmm.
and to find out that it's your parents are human and they are flawed, and it's so devastating, and it's probably even more fucking earth shattering because Spike has grown up in this very insular community. So
Hmm.
it's again, he has no benchmark as well. He can't be he can't say, well, maybe other parents are like this. He's just so used to being around these two people. So when it hits him hard.
It does hit him hard, but it also would, particularly with his father, because it shows, this movie does a very good job of showing that this is a very sensitive, and I don't mean in a pussy kind of way, but he's a very sensitive, artistic kind of kid, where his father is very much. And there's a great line where he says, where the kid's having trouble, and he goes, the more you kill, the easier it's going to be. And I think that's a very and I'm not dogging on men, Marty. This isn't me dogging on men, but I think that's how some men look at it. That the more you kill it, and the doctor is kind of a parallel to his father, because he just lives kind of peacefully. Everybody thinks he's crazy, but instead of shooting these zombies, he takes the male zombie with the big infected dong, and he just tranquilizes it. He just tranquilizes the poor dude. And I think that's done very intentionally to show the duality between these two men, and like the father is trying to shape him to be more of a man's man, and the mother doesn't want him to lose this softer, artistic way of looking at it, very different through the world. And the kid also has to listen to his own inner voice. And what I find interesting, another thing when we were watching this film, is that the kid kind of, when he sees his father, yeah, he's a big tough man's man, but he's also cheating on his mother, but he's not doing anything to help his mother. And he's like, dude, if you're not going to man up and do this, then I'm going to take mom and I'm going to find a cure. And it's very interesting that it's a sensitive one that's like, come on, grab a pair of balls and do something. And he's a little disgusted with his father, or at least that's how I took it.
No, definitely. Like you, obviously at the party where he sees his father essentially cheating on his mother, that was kind of the last coffin nail. But well, no, I'd say the discovery about the doctor was the last coffin nail. But the kind of the first cracks appear is where they're at the hall celebrating having survived, and his father's like saying, "Oh yeah, he killed two," and
No, I
he's like,
didn't.
I didn't," and
Yeah.
it's like, why are you doing this? This is, what the hell? So he starts to realize this infallible individual. Well, he's a bit more than human. He's a bit too fucking human. Like
I would say that the crack started to show, though, when he gave him the line, the more you kill, the easier it gets. Because you see him looking, and it's like he's coming to a crossroads there. He's looking and he's not necessarily questioning his father, but in a way he is. And he's kind of like, you feel like he has a soul of slate, like maybe there's another way. And that's how some men think. Let's just kill them all. Let's just mow them down and kill them. And you would say that a woman would have more of a thing of like, okay, maybe there's another way other than bloodshed. And again, I'm not saying all women are all men are like this, but that's just, in this world, you got to be a badass hunter and kill them, and not think that they might have souls. And I also like that this movie kind of shows a little bit of like, especially with the scene with the pregnant zombie, like, yeah, but at one time they were still human, and there's still something there. And again, that shows much more bravery than just shooting them.
Yeah, it's there is an interesting aspect that, like, maybe certain aspects of survival or certain maternal aspects override whatever the virus is. That she
Exactly.
was willing to kind of restrain her rage to allow Jodie Comer to help her.
Also, I'm sorry but again, to talk about toxic masculinity, the comic relief, the one guy that appeared, the one guy that's, from the mainland, and he's helping the kid, right? And after the baby's born, and the kid keeps saying he's not infected and stuff, and he says, put the baby down, and he's going to kill this. And I know, like, again, but the kid's not even infected. And that's the kind of mentality of this world. And this kid is sucked into it. Again, very much toxic masculinity in that scene where the one guy says, put the baby down, and as soon as they do, he means to kill this thing.
But it as well as toxic masculinity, that there's a big, I think there's a big allegory for immigration, or
Yes,
for
very
like
much
we do, they're breeding, that whole breeding line, that could be like,
Yeah.
the far, like the far right in fucking England, they could be like,
Mhm.
that kind of thing,
And in
keep,
America too. It's not just
yeah, yeah.
England, Marty. Let's be honest. It's also in America. Look what is happening with ICE agents in our very own country. Dragging people from their schools, from their home, from their places of work, that are just trying to make a better life for themselves. This is very much touching on that.
Yeah, it is. I wanna kind of do a big jump backwards. So the issues for me began in the establishment of the community. And I'm sorry, I know I'm going in reverse, but
No,
I
it's
just
fine.
I wanted to kind of show the kind of the cracks. Well, for me, the cracks in the veneer of this movie. So the two things really bugged me. Um, I get it, and Danny Boyle is a fantastic filmmaker, and I am of the adage, show don't tell.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to establish this is a feudal, a now feudal, basically medieval community,
Mm-hmm.
and essentially 28 years later, this coastal island has reverted back into something that would be reminiscent of 12th or 13th century communities, or 12th or 13th century castle or keep.
Yes.
And
Uh,
I think anyone with the wherewithal would get that from the beat.
mm-hmm.
So I did not think, in fact, I thought it detracted from the kind of aesthetic and the establishment of the fucking community to intersect and insert essentially clips from a 1950s medieval movie. I think it was either Robin Hood or Ivanhoe, of
Ivanhoe.
archers.
Yeah.
And again, you didn't need to do that. We were established. It showed the kids being taught archery. It showed the wall defenses. You did not need to
But
mix in. It. I am one. I am one definitely for who believes a film director should maintain their vision at all costs. But I'm also one who believes that you need to keep consistency with that vision, and that wasn't consistent. And then to make matters worse, he then inserted the sniper sequence from
mm-hmm.
28 weeks later, which really fucking annoyed me, because Boyle is okay with it, but Garland says he doesn't acknowledge or consider weeks to be canon. So in one hand, you're going to fucking diminish a sequel to your movie, and you're basically going to say, well, this doesn't count, but you're still going to take the fucking footage from that movie and use it in your movie. I just found it very disrespectful, and I found it very fucking cheeky, to be honest. And again, it wrecked the coherency and consistency of the scene.
See, it's interesting you say that, because I took a very different I took a different way of looking at it. As for the scenes with doing the medieval things and stuff, I didn't get that that's what they were, maybe to a point, but what I took from it is that we were going in a very hive mind, because this whole community has one way of doing things and one way of doing it. And, military, it's very regimented. You follow the hive, the good for the hive. And that's what I got out of it. And it's a dangerous thing to have a hive mentality, especially when you throw in the doctor character, because he is not the hive mentality. He is going in a very different way, and they all think he's crazy. And that, to me, that scene really illustrated that, of a hive mind, of a follower kind of thing, mindlessly, blindly following orders, is how I took that scene. And I could be totally wrong, Marty, but that's what it really got.
No. You're right. You're definitely right, because obviously that's the theme of the song Rudyard Kipling's Boots.
Mm-hmm.
But to put again, just to put those clips in,
I thought it added something. It kind of sent a chill down.
It detracted something for me.
I get you, and I can understand that. And a lot of people thought it was too, artsy fartsy, and I totally get that. But for me, I thought cinematically, it kind of sent a chill down my spine. And how fucking dangerous it is to have that fucking hive mentality, because this kid, again, is at a crossroads. Who does he listen to? Does he follow his father? Does he follow his mother? Does he follow his own voice? Or does, the doctor? He's at a very impressionable age. He is basically like clay that is still moldable. And I thought it was wonderful commentary. As for the adding the other parts from the second movie, I wonder if maybe, because I've heard some people say that this is not much of a zombie movie. We get it for a bit, and maybe it was just to appease people, to kind of make it feel more like. I thought it was. I thought there was some great scenes. That's one of my issues with this, is like people are saying it's not. I mean, there's some great scenes with the zombies, and it's not just in the first part of the movie. I think it's throughout the whole movie.
The thing is, though, if you had directed a sequel to a horror movie, and then the director returned to do a part 3, and he turned around and said, well, I'm not counting the second one because I don't like it or I don't agree with it, but he'll still fucking take footage from your movie, that to me would be incredibly fucking galling.
I can understand that. I didn't know that they weren't taking the second one as canon. So I didn't know that. I just thought it looked just cinematically, I thought it looked cool, but it would be, you're right. It would be a bit galling if, they kind of shit on it, but still used it. I get where you're coming from, but it didn't really bother me that much about it until you brought it up. I did not know that aspect. And like I said, I thought the other part really worked well. I thought it was just this movie. One thing you can say about this movie is it's not a quiet movie. It wants to slap the audience. It's not subtlety is not where this movie is. It wants to make the audience understand, and you get it, guys, you get it, and just ram it down your throat. Yeah. But done it in a very, for me, a beautifully cinematic way. I loved it, and I'm not trying to go against you, Marty. It's just we have a very different.
No. And look, this is. The title of our stream is it's a debate. We're having a debate. We're not going to be at loggerheads. But I get what you're saying, and you were dead right. To an extent, Boyle and Garland wanted to give people a slap in the chops.
They did.
To kind of, but whereas you saw it as a slap in the chops, I saw it as a fucking, a hammer across the head. This is
too much.
Yeah, it is. And again.
Well, you know me, Marty. Subtlety is not my bag either. So
no.
Subtle is going to appeal to someone like me. I like that. I get what they're doing.
You don't need to slap someone over the head to that extent. I don't think.
It didn't but to me, I got what they were doing, but I thought it wasn't just slapping. To me, it worked. It just worked. And but most people are in your camp. Most people thought it was a little too artsy fartsy. I really liked it. I thought it. I was like, wow, it chills down my spine.
I am not adverse to art house or avant-garde stylings in a movie. I think the scene where Jodie Comer is confusing Spike for her father again, and they're looking at the angel, that gorgeous fucking sculpture on the thing on the mountaintop, and that was fucking beautiful. so many gorgeous scenes in this movie, but I think putting in that footage done a disservice to this movie. It took away. I was like, I eventually did focus on the fantastic camera work in certain. There is some other issues I had with the camera work, particularly the fucking arrow time, like bullet time. I thought that was unnecessary, totally fucking unnecessary. But they done some beautiful stuff with cameras, and beautiful scenes were
It's
shot.
a gorgeous movie to look at.
It is.
even
It's a
people who
fucking.
don't like
It
this
is.
movie.
It's a gorgeous movie, but it's. Do you know what it is? Imagine you do right. You run a Michelin restaurant, a 5-star Michelin restaurant. You put up a Christmas spread, turkey, all the trimmings, and some motherfucker puts two fucking neon plastic bowls filled with Doritos in the middle of your fucking Christmas trimmings.
You're talking to the wrong girl, because I'd
Okay,
probably be.
okay, shite. Okay, but no, I'm just saying. I'm just they felt those adding that felt more tacky than Art House. There was
See, to me, it didn't.
genuinely good fucking Art House scenes in that movie. I just thought that they were
Too
too
much.
jarring. Yeah, it was, and it detracted. It detracted from the substance, and it detracted from genuinely fucking decent kind of shots and experimental moments in that movie.
I hate to go against you, darling, but for me, it didn't. It really, for me, it drove it home even harder. And again, for me, the hive mentality idea is terrifying to me. And so that just, I was like, I get it. And if anybody would seeing that thing will understand it. I mean, it's universal to me. It was universally, we just understood what they were laying down, and it worked. It was simplistic, but it worked really for me. I can't lie, it worked, and I was like, "Wow, god damn, I love this."
But again, it's just they had allegories that worked. They had comparisons and analysis of current day events that
They did.
worked. That didn't need such a, I'm going to say it, such a gaudy representation to fucking get them across. Again, the Ray Fiennes character, the fact he is an outsider, the fact the community it's an enclosed community, it's an isolationist community. It's an allegory for Brexit.
Yeah, I know.
They don't want to interact with the outside world, even if it does benefit them. The doctor would be a benefit, but he would have to deliver harsh truths that this community does not want to fucking face. Vis-a-vis Jodie Comer's character, the fact she's cancer. Rather, as you pointed out, rather than the father, rather than Aaron Johnson nutting up and either taking her to the doctor or bringing the doctor back to the community, he wants to live in ignorance because he thinks that's better, even though it obviously isn't. That is a fantastic representation of England leaving the European kind of the single market. And yes, they felt they were having rules and obligations forced upon them, but they were also being given advantages. And again, that's a perfect allegory right there. And then you didn't need to put in pictures of a UN meeting or anything like it. Just you get it. It's that is good. And the fact is that's so good. It highlights the failings of this movie that bit more. When something like, again, if this had been a shit movie all the way through, I wouldn't be as bothered. I'm sorry, I'm going on a tirade, but
It shows you're passionate, and I get that. And I'm sorry it didn't, those are the worst movies, the ones that you can see a lot of potential and but at the end it shoots itself in the foot. But for me, like I said, it was just it clicked. It made my little brain. I'm like, ooh, this just all works. It added a degree of flavor to it, and I really liked it. I liked everything about this movie. Like I said, I was just captivated, and I thought, Jesus Christ, you're making it fun, you're making it on an emotional level, but you're also saying some pretty big, heavy concepts, guys, but you're doing it in such an artful and skillful way. At least that's the way I came out of it.
No, and again, they did. I felt like they really did kind of, they really did kind of spoil the movie by putting that stuff in. And if it worked for people, it worked for people. I'm one individual. I'm one person who had an issue with this movie. Go on.
No, you're not the one. Most people are in your camp. Most people are not. I'm going to lay my cards on the table. It is in the running for one of my. It's right now. There's 3 movies battling it for my number 1 of the year, and 28 years later is one of them. And I know that's going to be a really hot take, but it's true. This is a movie that I fucking really adored, and I'm like, wow. And the stuff that you enjoyed too just was even better. I mean, the scene again, and it was his mother that was the bravest of all, because she kind of, when she got a clear head. And it's also a beautiful thing with a mother-son thing, because even when she didn't know, she still protected him, even though she didn't know. And that's just a mom. And I'm like, oh, that's a good way to illustrate that, how moms do. There's a lot, again, it's not just the bigger, higher end concepts of this. It's the emotional impact of just a family, about what it is to be a family.
It did this. I really enjoyed the center part of the movie, and the relationship between Spike and his mother was the heart of the movie. Again, it was funny, because I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to overlook the montage with the medieval footage and with 28 Weeks Later, because I'm so fucking invested in these two. And then that last 5 fucking minutes reared its fucking head. And again, I get the understanding, and I get the fucking allegory for that. And it's clever. I just would have executed it in a far more,
to be fair, it didn't come out of nowhere, because the beginning of the movie, we do kind of, it does clue us into, although I surprisingly, Velvet didn't clue into it, and I'm like, no, that's the one kid. They were a little confused on that part, and I got it. Now, Marty, I feel like you should explain it, because I think there's still some people out there that don't understand the context of it. And to be fair, if you don't know, this is just fucking bonkers. Although, again, and it's also toxic nostalgia, because which is something that you know better than. What did you say? You put it beautifully. You said, it's a nice place to visit, but you can never come home again. Basically,
nostalgia is a lovely place to visit, but you can never live there again.
Yeah, and exactly.
There is an element of toxic nostalgia, which I intend on.
There's more than an element, darling, because think about it. At the beginning of the movie, what are those kids watching? The Teletubbies. In the middle of the movie, what does he decide to leave behind? His Power Ranger. And again, and that's very much symbolic of a boy leaving his boyhood and the boyhood things and having to become a man. And because of his father's own things, that's the only way he can do it. That's the only, he and stuff. And which is interesting, because then he meets a character who basically took all of those childish things and still became a man in a very different kind of way. I mean, it's fucking genius, really, if you think about it.
It is, but it's left too fucking late, and it's too much.
You don't think there's enough to establish? Because I think the beginning scene does help it establish. It does come at it somewhat nowhere, but if you're really paying, and I'm not saying, I paid attention so I get it more. I'm not saying that, but it does leave breadcrumbs. You just have to really, really pay attention to get the breadcrumbs. And even when you're paying attention, in fairness, it's still what the fuck?
a smattering of breadcrumbs. So, okay, again, guys, you've seen the ticker tape at the bottom. This is spoilers. So our character Spike, he has decided to leave the community and go and explore, and he is cornered by a horde of infected and saved by a multicolored tracksuit wearing cult that has essentially kind of idolized themselves after Jimmy Savile, their leader, played by Jack O'Connell, who fucking killed it in Sinners there recently, plays a character by the name of Jimmy Crystal. Now,
And he kills it again.
he does. The small segment he's in, but at the same time, I just find it very hard to take it seriously. So at the start of the movie, we see a child just about survive an onslaught or an attack from the infected, and his father,
I love
his
that
own
scene.
father, is a priest himself and has gone fucking lady fucking gaga because of the fucking
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Cocoa
And
Puffs.
he's and oh god, I love that scene in the church, especially when his father's, embracing it kind of. He's gone completely into the land of the mad, and I fucking love that. And that's a big part of the ending. The beginning is a big part of the ending if you can kind of mash them together. Or do you think it's too far apart that people can't mash
it's too far apart. It is too far apart. And again, I would have had the journey with Spike and his mother conclude a bit earlier, and then introduce Jimmy Crystal. Even in the last quarter, I just think it was very late to introduce him. So the idea of Jimmy Crystal and his tracksuit wearing kung fu friends is essentially, this is a cult of children who were obviously bereft of any adult kind of supervision or guidance, and to a child, particularly in the late 90s, early 2000s, fuck it, back as far as the 80s, the television raised fucking children.
Yes,
And
it did.
it to these people, it's a deity. So things like Power Rangers, things like Teletubbies, these are all the great fucking kind of commandments, or the great kind of scriptures to follow. But every great religious movement needs their Buddha, needs their fucking Gaia, needs their Jesus. And a child growing up around this time would have watched maybe reruns, because I don't know if they were showing it at the time, or maybe Top of the Pops, Jimmy Savile. So run down on Jimmy Savile, the horrible piece of shit fucking monster that he was. He was a DJ who worked on Top of the Pops, and he also had a TV show, a kids TV show called Jim Will Fix It. And essentially,
which is really, considering what you're about to tell these people, Jesus Christ, Marty, just the name of the show alone, when you tell them that's dark.
This motherfucker fiddled young girls, teenage girls, girls who were suffering with mental and physical injury. He was a monster, and the BBC, because he was in the eyes of the British public, he was basically your version, or the England's answer to Mr. Rogers. Yeah, it was England's answer to Mr. Rogers. So, like, the BBC not wanting to kill their golden goose covered all that shit up. And
so it was only church.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fucking, swings and roundabouts. So it was only after his death it was discovered. I'm not sure when he died. Probably 2019.
Somewhere around there. It wasn't so far. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. But in the representation or the universe of this movie, obviously, the infection broke out in 2002, 2001, whatever, and his evil kind of machinations were never fucking discovered. So this guy, to these children, is essentially a deity. The television is their Bible, and the idea of Jimmy Savile as a deity. So they dress like Jimmy Savile. They dye their hair. They wear this gaudy fucking jewelry, just like Jimmy Savile.
They're
But
basic.
none of this context is given in the movie. Now, I'm not saying a person shouldn't fucking kind of go out and go, hey, what was that all about? But to introduce it in the last 5 minutes, if even, is again, I think that the idea is cool. The idea is cool, if not a bit fucking bonkers, issues with tone, but to execute it in the closing 5 minutes without any major context, if you ask me, is terrible storytelling, is a terrible fucking narrative. I get it. They want, this is the worm on the hook for Nia DaCosta's next movie, The Bone Temple. But it's just, again, whatever goodwill the middle part, Jodie Comer's story and Spike's story, had garnered was eviscerated by this fucking scene. Eviscerated.
I can see, and a lot of people agree with you, Marty, and I can't say that I don't agree with that, because I don't fucking know. But sitting here thinking about it, I'm just thinking, wow, because you know me, and people think I'm funny, but I'm dead serious when people ask me what the fuck scares you, and bar anything happening to my kids, the thing that scares me most is fucking religious nutcases. They fucking generally terrify the fuck out of me. And so, like, it shows how again, herd mentality, going along to get along with everybody else, and like conformity, following the leaders, and how fucking dangerous it is to fucking follow these. It's cool to have a religion, it's cool to have faith, but when you take it this far and you put it in the wrong kind of thing, these are the results, and it's fucking terrifying. And like I said, people always think I'm kidding. I'm not. Fucking Bible thumpers, I mean, those hardcore fucking evangelical fucks scare the living shit out of me, literally. And this is kind of this is what it's built. These are this is kind of what it's built on, and it's fucking terrifying. And again, I get what you're saying. It came in too little too late, and there's not a buildup. But I would kind of, again, have to somewhat half-heartedly disagree with you. I get where you're coming from, but the beginning of the movie, and again, what is the boy's father? He's a fucking priest. Religion, how fucking dangerous that whole idea.
It is established one of the pieces of jewelry he's wearing is the cross he took from his father at the end. Again, the idea is interesting. The idea has potential. It's the execution of said idea that I think is incredibly lackluster.
But don't you think? I'm playing devil's advocate here, Marty, and this is you can kind of see where my mind is going with this. The way it is executed, because it's such a surprise, it's so out of nowhere. That's why it's such a that's why it's such a sting to this punch, is because we're like, whoa, maybe if we had introduced it, it wouldn't quite be as impactful. Because if you get it, it's very impactful. And God, I sound like a tool when I say if you get it. I'm not talking down to anybody, but I mean, if you get it, it makes sense. Like, it's kind of good that how
Jen, if that segment wasn't any more fucking jarring, it'd be a fucking jam factory. Seriously, it's just.
But there was enough in the beginning, like I said, with the scene, especially thinking that is his father. I mean, you know what I mean? Or am I wrong? I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but
no. I know you're not, and I'm not trying to mansplain. Listen here, little woman. I'm not trying to fucking do that.
Darling, I don't understand anything but spook pictures. Anything more, anything without a mask. My little fundamental brain just don't get it.
No. Look, I get what you're saying, and as I said before, the concept, the idea, very interesting.
It
could work a lot with, and it would have been great if it had been introduced 30 to 40 minutes earlier in the fucking movie.
You think we'd lose the impact if it was? Maybe the reason why it's so effective is because it does take us unaware. Sometimes our best lessons, like the hardest lessons we learn, are the ones that just come and knock you the fuck out.
It takes, for me, it took me out of the movie.
Most people feel that way.
it's it diminished the goodwill the film had established. And again, I'm not trying to shit on Boiler Garland, but you're you're really you're really kind of you're really asking a lot of the audience by introducing that fucking element that late in the movie with that little context.
I get that, but sometimes it is nice to be challenged too. Because some one of my cardinal sins for a movie is I would rather a movie challenge me than fucking force feed or talk down to me. And that's one of the things I like about this movie is it does challenge you. It does not give you any easy answers. It's like, hey, this is what it plops it down and says you figure it out. And I kind of like that.
Okay, Larry has a Tinder if you want to read it.
Okay. Think of an example of Corey from Halloween Ends. Why introduce some random character in the last film that ends up being a huge part of the film that was supposed to be the final battle? That's a good point, Larry. But again, and I know you're going to roll your eyes at this, Marty, but I think we're going to get more. This isn't going to be the last film. This is we're going into.
Yeah, no, we're getting the Bone Temple and Nia DaCosta, who is a fantastic director.
Yeah, I mean, fucking Candy. Her vision of Candyman was fucking. I know some people didn't like it, but I'm not one of them. I loved it.
Again, I'm
not trying to be a dick to you, Marty, and you're
no, you're not. I'm not. I know you're not. I know you're not. I know you're not. I'm hoping she can. And again, this is going to sound condescending as fuck. I'm hoping she can make some sense out of the mess that was that ending.
I don't think it's a messy ending. I think it could be a messy ending depending on how it's all kind of, for me, hinges on how we go forward. It can be a total mess. I don't think it will be because it's in her hands, but it could be. But like right now, it's just on a pause. But the more you're kind of helping me with this because the more I'm sitting at, the more I'm thinking, I like this ending. I do. And I know everybody else has a problem with it, but I do. And I like that we're challenged here. And I don't think it's completely out of nowhere because we do get the beginning shots and there's a lot of answers in that shot.
There's crumbs. I don't know. I call it a foundation or a framework though? Again,
there's enough, and there's such commentary, especially with the religious aspect. And maybe I'm biased because I'm someone who just fucking is terrified of Bible thumpers, and that just was like, wow, that's a good way to speak. It just spoke to me, and the dangers of following, this thing, and it's dangerous to be. I'm glad I'm not the only one who loved the Candyman film, Larry. Yeah, the score, you can't fault that score. But Marty, I just, and I'm not, and you think I'm just going against you, go against you. I just really dug it. It just was one of those films that spoke to me, and I'm in
no. I don't think you're being pedantic, or I don't think you're just being a contrarian. You see potential, and you see.
It spoke to me. It spoke to me.
Okay, it did. For me, again. It all goes back to consistency. I like consistency both tonally and stylistically in a movie. I found it very hard to swallow. Whereas the original 28 Days Later, it had moments of levity, but it never detracted from the tone or atmosphere of the movie. The start part kind of.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Marty, but I have a question. Did you feel the ending was comedic? Because I didn't find it comedic. It was out of left field, but I didn't sit there and laugh at it.
When they were doing Power Ranger flips.
But again, that ties it back.
No, it ties it back. But it's too much. It's too much this late in the day.
I'm too much of a person, so I guess it's probably why it works. I am too much. Subtlety,
but it's like again, as I said before, like fucking, it's quick fucking make up some fucking tubs of jam because we got jars here. We got some serious jarring going on.
I get you. No, you're right. It does. It comes out. I can see where you and a lot of people, and God, that sounds so condescending, but I don't mean it this way. I can see where some people feel like you do and think it is, and it is somewhat jarring. But sitting here discussing it with you, you're kind of sewing up the little bit of holes that I had with this because I'm thinking back to that
Damn,
beginning
this
shot.
stream's having the opposite effect. Damn you.
And I'm sure for you, you're probably hearing me and going, I hate this movie even more than I did when we started 40 something minutes ago. But for me, it's really connecting the dots. And I'm like, I think I really love this film. And are you going to leave me a comment saying fake horror fan if I give this to my number one?
No.
Because I'm serious. This one has a bit. There's two other movies that are just as good as this, but I think this is kind of a brilliant film, and it has so much commentary, and it sort of frustrates me that some people aren't getting it. Like, you know what I mean?
I will give you leeway. I was talking to a friend of mine from Instagram, and he's a big Alien fan.
Mhm.
And as I was saying earlier on, we both compared 28 weeks to Alien and 28. I keep on mixing up the title. 28 days to Alien for the slow burn kind of horror, and weeks to Aliens for the action horror. And then he goes, so is this Alien 3? And it's like, yeah. He goes, now I know how I feel when I'm fucking defending people. Now I know how people must feel when I'm fucking defending Alien 3. That's what it's like, the hated red-haired stepchild of the.
Do you? But you don't hate this, right? Or is this stream sort of making
I don't hate it, but it just. Hey, City!
Hey! I know, right? And that you gotta love it. She's right. You gotta love the zombie dong. Whoa!
Again, that didn't bother me. That made sense. Totally. These guys have been wandering around for fucking decades or days or whatever with no fucking clothes on. But I'm again, it's this movie is the Alien 3 of the 28 franchise. It is. It's going to be as divisive as fuck. Hey Tex.
Hey Tex, how are you doing? So do you guys like literally, and I'm being honest, I'm not talking as, you're not talking as my partner here, you're talking just as another thing. Do you see me and the few other people who really dug it and this film spoke to them like assholes in berets that like go, fucking wankers?
No, I don't. I think that you guys see something that maybe I just don't see in the movie. Like the fact there are people out there who fucking go to me, you like Alien 3? What are you, some kind of fucking sycophant? They killed Newt and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And again, there's an element that you get that, and I'm not saying I'm not on an intellectual level, but on
God knows not at an
level.
Intellectual level with me.
No, don't put yourself down. Yeah, no, I fucking love Alien. No, hold on a minute, Larry. I love Alien 3. You fucking know I love Alien 3. But my point is, this is the divisive entry into the franchise, just like Alien 3.
But is it though, Marty? Because most people that I've been hearing are more in your camp. They or even like it less than you do. And I know there's parts of it you really enjoy. Where I hear a few people who really dug this, but not that many. And like sitting here talking about this film with you, and also I'm sitting here and thinking about Ray Fiennes' character as the doctor, right? And again, one of the other things, it's that hive mentality with this movie. Everyone goes, stay away from him. He's fucking going crazy. He just does things in a different way, and is not gonna go, hey, the more you kill him, the easier it's gonna get. He sees it in a different way, and is kind of a little bit of a hippie, tree hugger, but it works, and he's looking at life in a different way. And that's another commentary. We always ostracize people who are different, who dare to think different, and I really applaud. And it's not in like that, after school special kind of way. This movie is laying it down, but for me, it's not hitting you over the head with it. It's very subtle, but it's there.
It's like, again.
Or am I just being a complete
No,
wanker?
you're not. Where, yeah, and again, lads, I am a fan of Alien 3, but I've got to be a prick now. Where Alien 3, I think, works where this doesn't is consistency. There is consistency in Alien 3. This is lacking consistency. This is lacking coherency in certain regards. The beginning and most certainly the end. Text like this movie as well. Again, I prefer 28 Days Later. I think it's a fantastic movie. I think it's fucking, I'm just gonna say it. I think 28 Days Later is far fucking superior to this.
A lot of people do. A lot of people do, and a lot of people are kind of, I get that. But see, you got to remember, I come from a little bit different. I liked 28 Days Later for what it was, but you know some of my favorite zombie movies. It probably shouldn't surprise you that this worked for me if you think about it, because again,
No.
I feel that this has.
And again, I wanna make 2 points. I did not hate this movie.
I know you didn't.
Despite what you might think. Oh, 20. Yeah, no, sorry, Tex. Yeah, no, I'm with you, Tex. I'm not a fan of 28 Weeks Later, although I'm a bit more of a fan of it than I am of this. But the thing, and again, it's probably with me. I am just someone who believes a film should have a coherency and a consistency to its style, to its theme, to its tone. For me, this movie did not.
I get you. And I think most people are going to be in your camp. For me, it did. You had to look hard, and this movie does challenge you. But again, I probably sound like a fucking wanker, but I prefer a movie that is going to challenge me as opposed to one that's going to coddle me and give me A, B, C, D, or something we've seen a million times.
I get that. I would be totally against. I'm not a fucking fan of connect the fucking dots movies. I'm not fucking paint by numbers.
And I'm not saying you are, Marty, but it's just this one. I get what it just clicks. Everything in this movie clicks for me, and the more we're discussing it, even this ending, which I told you was very jarring, and still the jury's out. The jury is kind of closing in a verdict, and I even like that. And again, right now I am thinking about how fucking dangerous it is with the fucking religious mentality too, because that's all that ending scene. That's what it's about. It's about those, following the the godly thing. I mean, and it's dangerous to make a deity. It's fucking dangerous, as we well know. History has taught us time and time again. Most wars break out because of religion. I mean, it's not what you think it is, people. And I'm not against religion. I'm just saying it can be dangerous when you take it to a fanatical level. And I like the way this movie incorporates that, and also the dangers of toxic nostalgia, toxic masculinity, and just the bonds of family life. Either I like that this movie has both high-minded concepts and also can get at the heart of the matter on an emotional level, that it doesn't matter what kind of walk of life you come from, you can vibe with it.
Did you think, again, I'm wondering, will it be like Alien 3? Whereas when Alien 3 was originally released, and don't worry guys, I know what I'm like, and I promise I'm not going to turn this into an Alien 3 live stream. I have a feeling though, and maybe it will be a case of vindication for you and other people, that this is a movie that will garner, like Alien 3. Alien 3 was not loved when it came out. It was derided to ever live and fuck. but I've a feeling this movie, as the years go on, and maybe with the benefit of Nia DaCosta's sequel, it will garner a cult following and stuff like that. But
I
as
think
far as I'm concerned, I don't. 28 days is over and done, and I don't consider Weeks or this as a sequel, just
I
for
can
me.
understand. I can understand that. It doesn't because, and this is like, this isn't bullshit. This is true. I don't tend to follow, like, I love the horror community, but I often have hot takes that are sometimes I agree with people, so the masses, sometimes I don't. So I never concern myself with, if I like a movie, then I like it, and it's cool if other people find it and dig it. But I'm not going to base it, because you don't like it or because someone else in the community doesn't like it. I'll stand by my own convictions. Right or wrong, I'll stand by my own convictions. And so, but it would be nice if if people appreciate it, because I think it is a damn shame that people aren't appreciating this movie, because there's so much to appreciate and there's so many good concepts here and stuff that really resonate. Maybe it's just a personal movie that just resonates with me. It ticks a lot of boxes for me. And I also think it's a beautifully shot film, and on the emotional level, even taking the high concepts out, just the emotional level of about a boy losing, going into manhood and shedding and trying to find what his manhood is going to look like. Is he going to be, like his dad and a kind of guy, or is he going to keep some of his, sensitive artistic nature and look at the world more as the Ray Fiennes does? And is he going to listen to his parents, or is he going to listen to himself? It's all stuff we go through, and no matter what kind of walk of life, it's all very relatable.
It's, again, like you were saying, there is some brilliant shots, there are some brilliant themes, and there are brilliant concepts in this. And again, it's a gorgeous looking movie.
It is.
It is a well acted looking movie, but I definitely feel it's hobbled by some shanky decisions at the start and a very ill executed and ill conceived ending.
I think most people are with you. And again, what the fuck do I know?
No, hold on. I don't want you thinking that, again, for me, this is my opinion. I don't want you going, Jen doesn't know fucking shit about me.
No, I don't think you're good. No, but I think most other people are like, yeah, don't listen to her. But no, and that's fine. Everyone, me, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That's cool. To each their own, as I always say. But like for me, it just fucking worked. It fucking worked. And like I said, this stream has just made me fall a little bit more in love with it. And like I said, there are 3 movies that are battling it for me, and as much as I love the other 2, and there's one that nobody has seen that I think deserves it, and then there's the one that everybody's seen that is good, that I do agree with it. And this is just a movie though that just vibed with me on a personal level, and I'm like, wow. And this also makes me super excited about film. This was a movie that I'm like, god damn, because sometimes when we watch movies consistently, you can get a little jaded, especially doing what we do, reviewing movies and stuff. You can get tired, you can get jaded, and this was one that like injected some life into me, and I'm like, wow, I remember why I love movies. This is kind of one of those special movies that make me go, oh yeah, I remember why I like movies again.
Larry put it perfectly. Movies are subjective as well, so that's
very much so, and it also depends on where you are in your life and the experiences you've had. And again, but I wish more people had enjoyed it, but it's cool. And if you like the other movies that came before it better, that's fine too. That's totally cool too.
No, and
Jen's just a fucking art house wanker.
No, you aren't. You aren't. Again, I like. Oh.
You do. You like all kinds. Well, but people, you're legitimate. I'm not. I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl who talks about spook
We're
pictures,
on fucking
darling.
YouTube talking about. Hey, look, let's see what the Predator fucking cuts open this week.
But you can find a lot. like that again, you can't just hold up your nose, because even in movies that you think are just one thing can mean something to somebody else that you would have never taken it. That's one of the magic things about film, is that, you know, people can take what they want from it, and it can be a very different experience for each and every individual. That's one of the magics about film, and that's why people get so passionate about film, and sometimes people take it too far. But on the other hand, I can totally understand, because if a movie means something to you, it means something to you. Sometimes film can save people's life, or can help you get through a hard time, you know, like that it's an escape. Like, it's just a film on one hand, but on the other hand, it can be a little bit more.
And also the flip side, kind of defending this, just keep repeating to yourself,
It's
it's
only a
only
movie.
a movie. It's only a movie. It's please, sir, please stop cutting the cinema screen. It's only a movie.
Gotta love Craven, darling. Gotta love Craven. No, I do. This debate, all it's done is kind of clinch it to, like I said, right now it's battling. There's 3 movies battling for my number 1 this year, and this one has a really good shot.
What is yet to come out that you're excited for, actually?
I'm excited for Weapons. I'm hearing good. It's the same one that did Barbarian, and I'm really looking forward to that. I've heard mixed things. I don't know if it's coming out or not. I've heard some people say it's not. The body movie. The one about the couple. I've heard some people say it's
Dave
still coming out.
Franco and Alison Brie are in it, and there was an issue with plagiarism, right?
Yeah, some people say it's still coming out, and other people are saying we're never going to see the light of day. I hope we do, because before all that shit came out about it, it looked really fucking good. It looked really fucking good. There are 2 movies that are technically out right now, but I've not been able to track them unless you pay for them, and I'm thinking about it. There's
Larry
one
has the title there, Together.
Thank you, Larry. You're right. It is Together. It looks really good. That's a movie I'd like to watch with you, just because it's about, a couple and stuff. And those are always kind of interesting movies to watch with your partner. 2 other movies that are out that, but the only way I found it is you have to pay for them, rent them. One is called Looky Loo, which has very vibes of fucking Peeping Tom. It's kind of reminds me of a modern day Peeping Tom. Very interested to check that one out. And there's another movie called Garden of Eden that I'm hearing really good things about, that's supposed to be about religious fanaticism, that's supposed to go really a mind fuck. But those ones you have to rent, at least as of now. They'll probably turn up on some streaming sites sooner or later, but I'm actually thinking about, like, just because Garden of Eden is on Amazon Prime, and I'm thinking about just paying $3.99 and watching it, because it looks really good.
Yeah, Superman is out next week, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Predator Badlands, I'm still on the fence. I love Prey, and Killer Killers was fantastic. But this is definitely a genre switch from kind of pulp action horror adventure to high fantasy sci-fi action pulp. Again, we're getting the Predator as a protagonist, and we've gotten that before to I suppose varying success. I'm going to be charitable and use the term varying success. I'm going to take a leaf out of Eric. Hey, internet, Eric here. Here's book. I'm not going to pass judgment
just yet
on it till I watch. Again, yeah, Larry. I'm the same as Larry as well. He's on the fence. I
would figure that, because your love for the franchise so much, I figure you would be very excited for it. But I understand why too.
The issues people are having, I'm weird now. The issues people are having with the head, I don't have, again, I'm a snobby motherfucker. I'm using the term execution rather. What the fucking handman? I don't have a problem with the design of Deck, the runt Predator. I don't have an issue with the dreads, or I'm not too gone on the facial design. Yeah, I'm with you, Larry. So my issue isn't totally with the facial design per se. It's the execution. Again, is the day gone now of Rick Baker and Stan Winston and Alec Gillis where practical effects are now redundant and
No,
we are getting digital. His eyes are digital, his tusks are digital. Why
I
can't we get a practical effect? I get it. It's no, I know the answer. I know the answer. It's cheaper to fucking type something into a computer and then get the design rather than fucking putting in hours or days or months of labor into a practical effect. But but the dividends of all that work pays off.
my
Whereas
answer would have been different. I would have just said go to independent. That's where you can still find practical effects alive and well. For me it would be independent horror, but just go to independent. We still have a
but
love
dude,
for
studios don't want to fucking drop fucking cash, that amount of cash. They want
no.
stuff here and now, and it's just yeah.
I understand. Even with Final Destination, a movie I loved, even there you're like, okay, a little heavy on the CG, and you're like, ugh. But you're having so much fun with that movie, it didn't really matter.
Again, but the thing is that you could do a combination in Final Destination. There's you can work on different things. The main focus, one of the main focuses, especially with the character, the alien being front and center, is his visage, is his appearance. And now we've rendered this is the worst possible time or the worst possible scenario to say, fuck it, we're going to use CG to do the face. We're going to be spending a lot of time with this creature, and I
But
guarantee you
don't
that.
some women want to fuck this new design? Like, didn't you tell me there are some
Yeah,
women that are themselves?
there is some
And
women that
maybe
are
some
like,
men too. I don't judge.
no, neither do I. I have no problem with hishers. Look, fucking everyone has their own fucking kink and chink and the whole fucking lot. But I just the facial design isn't helped by the fact that it's rendered in CG. I would be a lot more forgiving if it was indeed a practical effect. Hey, we have strange monkey in the
Hey, Chris, how you
house.
doing?
But you can see where I'm coming from, or am I just being a neckbeard pedantic?
No.
And
You're
filling in
talking to someone who was. I love practical effects. I am one of those bitches that always say practical effects over, and CG, I guess sometimes for convenience, I get it, but like I think we need to hold. That's one thing. You're talking to a horror gal, so of course I'm going to always go for practical effects over CG. That you're talking to a horror gal, of course I am. But I guess it is. But then this is your franchise. This is something that I'm not going to speak too much of because this is very much your franchise, darling. I just talk about them. I talk about them men with masks. I talk about them men with masks trying to kill their sister / not sister / sister.
But my question for you is, right, we get a new Nightmare on Elm Street and we get a perfect actor, perfect everything. And it's fantastic CG, but his face is 100% Freddy's burns, Freddy's scars, Freddy's mutilation. It's all CG. Like, or would you be willing to overlook that?
Depending if the movie was good, like with Final Destination, I could because I was having such a good time with the movie. But there were people, and I don't have the sharpest eyes, Marty. You and Velvet are two people that I know that really can notice that stuff. If I'm really vibing with the movie, I don't notice it as much as some of the other people. But like when it is egregious, you can go, Jesus Christ. There are times when even someone like me, who's not as swift as you guys are about it, I can pick it up sometimes. And yeah, it does detract and it does take away. And I'm not, again, you're talking to a practical effects lover through and through.
Yeah, I know, Larry, it was touched up, but like I suppose this is going to be a mixture as well of practical and CG on top of it. But yeah, my point my point still stands. In fact, my point has been vindicated, actually, as Larry has pointed out. That version of Freddy, the fucking I was going, what's it? Ed? Oh Christ, what's the actor's name from
Oh,
Bad News Bears?
it's not Haley, is it?
Jackie
Jackie
Hale Early.
Haley. Yeah, Jackie Haley. Yeah, that
Yeah,
one.
like that was fucking trash. I get
Yeah,
they were
he
trying to do something more realistic to an actual burn victim, but like
the movie. I mean, he was good. It like the people give the actor shit. He was doing as good as he could have, but yeah, it wasn't a good. But it wasn't just the CGI. That whole movie was
yeah,
problematic to say the least.
yeah. Did one?
Oh, I was just gonna say, you asked me what another. There is one other movie that I think it's coming out in October that I really am interested in, and it's interesting because it's an Oz Perkins film, and we're getting another. No, it's not just a monkey. We're getting one. We're getting one called Keeper as well, and that's coming out, I think, in October. And like, I have a very mixed relationship with Oz Perkins because I really dug the monkey. I wasn't really big on Longlegs or pretty much any of his other films. The monkey was the first one that worked for me, but I'm very curious to see this one as well.
I enjoyed the monkey. Actually,
I did too.
That's probably going to make it onto my favorites of 2025. Again,
yeah, it's one that's got a shot for me.
And people are like, but you hated 28 years later. Oz Perkins movie was consistent. It was silly as fuck, but it was consistent. and you know that I enjoyed that movie. Was great. That movie was a feature length Treehouse of Horror. Oz Perkins should do. You know what? Fuck it. You want to bring back the Simpsons? Let fucking Oz Perkins direct the fucking Simpsons, because
he kind of did already with the one thing. But I'm curious. Like I said, he really hit a home run with the monkey. But while everyone loved Longlegs, I was that one asshole. I was like, no, that didn't work for me. So I'm very curious to see if this one's going to be a hit or miss. And I believe it's coming out in October. It's called Keeper. You'll like it, Larry. It's funny. On top of everything else, it has a lot of great and I'm not the easiest person to crack a smile, but like that was a movie that got me cracking quite a few smiles. It's funny, and it's also strangely heartfelt. And I think it actually has the best thing of saying about death. Like, you can wax all these poetic musings on death, and like it's a little bit more simplistic at the end of the movie. It's just, it fucking sucks, which I really like. It's simplistic, but it's also very true.
Trying to think what else. August 21st. I don't know. I can't see it getting a cinema release here. Primitive War, because I've already been let down by one dinosaur movie this year. I'm hoping this one redeems itself. Based off Ethan Primus's pulp novel series, Primitive War, and it was a comic series, really cool. Bunch of special forces soldiers in Vietnam bump into dinosaurs. Pulp adventure. Can't fucking go wrong. The trailer's up. Definitely check it out. If you want a palate cleanser for Rebirth, and Rebirth wasn't terrible. It was just, as I said before, it was formulaic at best and derivative at worst. It's same old, but somehow even more fucking diluted. But yeah, if you want some cool fucking dinosaur action, I'm hoping August 21st, 2025.
There's also some pornos if you just want straight up dinosaur action.
What fucking pornos? What the fuck are you talking about?
There's some pornos that have people in, it's not exactly like the puppet movie, Marty, but there are some dinosaur pornos. Just saying.
Here was me thinking we were having an all fucking civilized and fucking,
we did. I held out an hour and 17 minutes. That's probably a new record for me.
In fairness, she didn't bring my dick up once, so
I didn't. Since you're off camera, I was kind of hoping maybe I did, and that's why you were off camera.
maybe we'll see. I'm not going to say it to anyone. Jesus Christ.
I thought that's why you were
Good
on.
good luck getting anyone else onto the stream now. I ain't coming on there. The Irishman's got a hard on. I ain't trusting that Mick with a dick.
Well, the only person that should be coming all over your heart on is me, right?
Just not on my couch. You know how much I spent on my couch, right?
You won't see it. It's clear, so it'll be fine. Yeah. So this debate just kind of reaffirmed our opinions, huh?
Look, as I said before, my own opinion, I think it irritates me more because there's stuff I really like in this movie, and that other stuff spoils it for me. For me, I want to reiterate for me, and I'm not being one of these half wank shandy fuckers who are like, well, I give a review, but I give my honest opinion. I'm giving my honest opinion again for me, but if you think you're of the same mindset of myself, I think you'll have an issue with this, and I think there are issues with this. But again, there's merits with this movie. It's just I just can't get over elements at the start and that fucking ending. Again, before someone goes, well, you don't get it. I fucking get it. I just don't think it was executed properly.
I get it. I just don't particularly like it, basically.
Yeah, but again, I'm not saying it to be a contrarian.
No.
I'm not saying it to be bollocks. I'm just,
I get you. For me, I come from a little bit different perspective. It worked for me on a lot of levels. It was a very different kind of, one thing you can say about it, it was kind of a breath of fresh air. And the horror, and I love the horror genre. That's my genre. That's my baby. That's where I can talk ad nauseum on the horror stuff. But the one thing that even a horror lover, you got to admit the problems. And sometimes horror can get pretty stagnant and pretty much same old. And this was a really big breath of fresh air. It was different. It was invigorating. It added some life into this genre. You didn't see a movie like it. And it took chances. It took risk.
Yeah, no. I will give The Devil its due, and I will say the same with Sinners. I had issues with Sinners as well, but one thing I will give 28 Weeks Later in Sinners is they are not derivative. They are not formulaic. They try to do something interesting and good and something we haven't fucking seen for once.
Yes.
And I don't
and
know.
They both have O'Connell in them.
Jack O'Connell.
Yeah.
But again, I still have issues with that plot. But I will take, and again, not being condescending, not being patronizing, I will take something that is flawed, even if it's incredibly flawed, that's original, over the same fucking derivative droll that we've been fucking spoon-fed for God knows how long.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I like my comfort horror too. I'm not saying who it has to be. God knows I'm a fucking Terrifier fan, so don't think I'm like this, arty, uppity bitch. I'm not. I love my comfort food too, but along with comfort food, occasionally you need something a little bit more healthy, a little bit more well balanced, a little bit, to shake up your taste palette. And you're right, Sinners and 28 Years Later definitely shook up our palates, be it for good or for bad. At least it wasn't same old.
I'm fucking astounded after watching Sinners. One thing I will get, fucking Coogler should be directing Blade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard a few people say that, and I would totally agree. We'd love to, but good luck. He's very busy. I don't know how. I think he's got I don't know how many movies he's going to have his hands in, and I don't know if he's coming back to horror anytime soon. I wish he would. Hell, I wish the guy would just stay in horror.
I liked, it was a very cute little interview because he is a fan. He's a fan of all cinema, and he's a cinephile. And he was talking to Michael B. Jordan, absolutely gushing about Jurassic Park, and then they were talking about how he got the idea for the vampire's eyes. Mm-hmm. And he says that's from Puss in Boots. That's from the Grim Reaper wolf in one of the Puss in Boots sequels. And it's like that guy just loves cinema. He sees something, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And again, you need someone like that. You need a Maverick. You need someone to be put into these genres and given free fucking reign. Again, had issues with Sinners, nowhere near as much as I did with
This one.
28 years, but it's still it's still a very vibrant and fresh fucking take. And again,
Fantastic.
I like if someone came to if a comic book fan came to me and said, "Oh, should I check out Sinners?" I was like, "Do you like American Vampire by Scott Snyder? It's a vampire western noir." I'm like, "Fucking check out Sinners if you liked American Vampire by Scott Snyder and Stephen King. Check out Sinners because very reminiscent of that." But I think the extra added kind of element that makes it even more unique is it's from an African American perspective in the
Yes.
1920s as well. That
And with
is a
Jim Crow, with Jim Crow
yeah,
era. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. It's very good. And like I said in the review, and I'll say again, even though it was set in that time, funny how relevant it is to today's times, ain't it? There's
The
no racism. There's no clan. Mhm.
uh, the more things change, the more they
Well,
stay
they
the
stay the same.
same.
Exactly. Amen to that. Or not
But
amen to that, but that's the way it goes.
do you know what? I'm gonna do a new kind of little thing because we got nothing kind of else popping into my head unless there's something you want to discuss or all
No,
good.
I think we're good. I think we did give a fairly decent, pros and cons of this movie, and I think they were both fair and balanced. We're not Fox News, but I think we did a fairly fair and balanced job.
Too fucking right, we're not fucking Fox News. Um so just before I finish up, uh Texas, if you're still here, what is coming up in your channel? And if so, drop it in the link in the comments and I'll highlight it. Same for you, Larry, same for you, Monkey, and we'll read it out as well because it's nice to be nice and it's nice to fucking give some awesome people a bit of I hate the term exposure. That sounds like you're pulling off their clothes and throwing them out in a fucking blizzard.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, I'm okay with that.
I what?
Um, but no, you're right. And that's what this community is about. It's about friends and helping and try, and hopefully maybe there'll be some people in your chat that aren't aware of these channels, and they're all fabulous channels. Texas gives great watch streams. Larry does good watch streams and also wonderful figure unboxings. And Monkey, even though he had that trash on for his horror freaks last time, generally he does good stuff. Like he had this trashy girl on for his horror freaks a week or two ago, but generally he's really good.
Yeah, just want to apologize. Just want to apologize, Monkey. I may have busted my nut to that last episode, just to let you know.
Larry is putting out.
But no, no.
Everybody's
But Larry, just to type a bit of a description of what, because that's like yeah. People can click on the links, but just type in the description. We'll read out because I don't know about you, but I don't think it's much good us reading out HTTPS.
well, people can click on it. It still helps. It still helps. Thank you, Larry. It still really helps.
But no, Larry, I saw he had done a good review on NECA's Hammer, Peter Cushing, Van Helsing, and yeah, I think NECA are dropping the ball there. I'm not going to go too into it. Check out fucking Larry's stream. But yeah, it's a bit disheartening, especially when the fucker can't stand, you know. But yeah, no. What's next for your channel, Larry? Just let us know in the chat.
A brutally honest review.
Yeah, the fucking cunt and yoke wouldn't stand, and I mean, again, you're paying upwards now of fucking $60 for NECA, so Well, over on this side of the pond. Yeah, anyone else, just type in what your next video is if you want. What about you, babe? What's Nick? I know you got your Michael Madsen tribute video done.
Yeah, and the person who edited it for me did a hell of a job too. Like I feel
I
sorry.
hear he's the cantankerous cunt who doesn't like any movies. He's turning into a fucking asshole.
Yeah, I do right now. I put a lot of like we lost Michael Madison last week, and I know, and he did do a couple of horror films, but that's not what he was primarily known for. He was primarily known for the quintessential cool guy and quintessential tough guy, and but I was a great admirer of the man, and I just hated that we lost him. So I thought the best way to honor him was to do a tribute and review of my favorite movie, what I would consider one of his hidden gems in his filmography, House in the Hills. It's from 1993. I implore you guys to go check it out. I believe you can see it on Tubi, and it's just a fun ride. It's a fun fucking ride, and that's up right now. Yeah, a great editor helped me get that video, because the video was a little bit of a mess, and a great editor really helped me with that. As for what is next, I will be on Tuesday on Sean Patrick Erskine's channel, the Horror Corner. We were going to be talking about summer camp slashers and backwoods horror, and we're going to be talking about the Friday the 13th franchise, the new, the good, the old, and what the hell's going to be our expectations with the show. That's with the Horror Hangout crew, myself, Sean Patrick Erskine, Velvet Trivia Theater, and the Horror Miser Monty G. And I believe the guest this month is going to be Horror Fan 88, and he's a really good dude that knows his stuff. It's going to be a great show. And as far as other videos coming out, there's going to be some stuff. I definitely want to get a review of Marshmallow out, since it's a summer camp theme horror. It will be research for the stream coming up.
Are you guys going to review I Know What You Did Last Summer, or whatever the fuck it's called now?
Okay, hot take. I wasn't that in love with the original. It's fine, no hate, but it's not a beloved one. I'll probably do it, but it's more because I have a horror channel. I have to do it. It's not it's a Terrifier movie, Marty, where I'm just, oh my God, I can't wait. It's like, okay, I guess we'll do it because, it's horror and that's what my channel's about. And I guess I'd be kind of a dick if I didn't talk about it. But I'm not that passionate about the first one, if I'm going to be honest. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, I always felt that those two movies coasted on
they're not bad. They are what they are. And there are some people who hold nostalgia, like if it came out, like I was probably a teen when those movies came out, but I was into a lot. To me, that was very much just kind of PG-13 kiddie kind of horror. I was give me faces of death, give me fucked up shit. I don't have time for this teeny bopper shit. It's kind of how I looked at it back then. But no hate. What else I was going to say? Oh, also, sorry, darling, but I just, my stupid brain. Also, on Wednesday, we're going to take a little bit of a detour from horror, and we're going to be continuing my Summer of the Mob. And it was my pick. And the mob movie we're doing for this week is we're going to be talking about A Bronx Tale, which is a really great one that not everyone knows about. And I'll be with Joey Nomad and the Soulless Trenchcoat, and possibly someone else might join us. I'm not sure if they're going to join us or not yet, but I hope they do.
Sure, we'll see. Yeah, I have a fucking shit ton of figures to review because some fucking lunatic from over the Rio Grande, I don't know, is that the right geography? Sent me a box.
My geography. Peaks and valleys, like I could, peaks and valleys. That's a euphemism for my boobs. Peaks and valleys.
So long as it's not like fucking Mount Rushmore.
But yeah, so you have a lot of figures so somebody sent you a lot of figures, huh?
I did. I got spoiled fucking rotten by a gorgeous lunatic who really shouldn't be spending that much money on me.
Yeah. She probably just wants your dick, Marty. She probably just wants your dick.
I should get it either or. Might as well do something with it, like, you know. But yeah, no, I think I'm gonna fucking wind it down here. But before I do,
On your dick.
I,
Hey, I was pretty good throughout most of
no,
this.
no. In fairness, you are. Yeah. Look, before we go, we want to thank everyone who stopped in. That
Thank
included Kubrick Lover, Brian, fucking legend of a lad. Larry, aka the Horror Cat Dad, fantastic figure reviewer, fantastic dude in general. If you haven't checked out his channel, check out his channel. Strange Monkey Reviews, another awesome dude. He done a cool video with some real fucking dirty fucking chick there the other time. I swear to God, I nearly tore the prick off myself watching it. And Texas, another awesome dude. If you haven't checked out Texas's channel, Tex, fucking tongue twister, motherfucker. Texas, make sure you check out Texas's channel there.
Does great live streams. Does
Excellent live streams. Him and Juno, two fucking lovely dudes as well.
Very
Who else have we got? We have Sad Flan, aka Sadie, aka Wabanashi. She is a stranger to these parts, but you can check her out over on Twitch, whatever the kids call it these days. I don't fucking Twitch, I don't fucking know. Fucking whatever.
Cal was also in for a little while.
Cal
too.
Daly,
Yeah.
and Anthony
Chobit.
Pop Culture and Opening. Anthony, check out Anthony Shobit's fucking channel.
And Grief World it was also in.
Oh, Nate. Yeah, fucking Nate. Nate the Great was in as well. So make sure you check them out.
And probably some guys in trench coats watching from the shadows, you know.
Well, who do you think they were jerking off to? You or me?
Probably you. You have the sexy voice.
I have the sexy... Not at the fucking moment. I have a fucking head cold. I sound like fucking...
Somehow that makes it even more sexier, honestly.
You fuck off, will you? Jesus, I don't have a sexy accent. I sound like I survived the fucking famine because I killed fucking Christopher Lloyd and escaped in his fucking DeLorean. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it.
Whoever they are. I don't know who the fuck they are, Brian. I don't know. We'll see. But so with that, I'm going to end it here. Unless you have anything else you want to talk about, babe.
Well, I mean, I could always talk about your penis for hours, but I'm sure our audience might be a little tired of it. So I guess we'll save it for another stream.
Okay. Are you saying you're tired of my penis?
No, I'm never tired of your penis.
You're too damn fucking right. Anyway, I nearly fucking tore it off the other day watching you in the fucking monkeys video. Anyway, right, with that, we're gonna fucking leave you and love you.
Too much information, darling.
Wait, hold on a fucking minute now. Jane Mitchell has the fucking gall to go. Is that too much? Go way out of that, you fucking.
Well, I do it much more subtly. Like people don't even know I use euphemisms. Oh,
Papa Goss.
Papa Goss is just jumped collector. In.
Yeah.
Welcome. We're just signing off. No, nothing because you. Just because we're signing off. Well, I'm talking about Marty's penis. Well, actually, Marty was being a pervert.
How the fuck was I being a pervert?
Well, because I do it subtly, darling. I do it very subtly.
You do it fucking subtly. You do it about as subtle as someone throwing a brick through a fucking maternity ward window. Jesus Christ.
Oh, don't worry.
Don't fucking sweat it. Don't sweat it. Again, I'm on the other side of the pond, so we kind of do them a bit early, so I'm not fucking up till 8:30 in the morning. But no, regardless, Papa, cheers and thank you for fucking stopping in. Another great guy, great collector as well. Check out his channel. And with that, we shall leave you and love you. And have a good one. Take care. Bye now.
Bye, guys. Have a good one.
Take care of yourself. Bye.
Penis.
Vagina. Does that balance it out now? I don't know. Fucking.
Penis.